Okay, the time is now 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the special Board of Select meeting to order. Ask you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mike Supranat.
Tom Senkowitz.
Kevin Cunningham. We only have the one item on our new business for discuss and act on resolution opting for the town of Plainfield into the Small Town Economic Assistance Program. We are currently in that program. It's been such form since September of 2022. We had a town meeting to vote on the items which you see in front of you is the opt-in provisions, but down the bottom of the page it talks about where we are at this time for those two programs. We have one which was dedicated in 2022 for the Lions Park improvement. We're doing the final stages of that now, which is why I have Ryan here in case you have any questions about where we stand on that. And the next one, which is also something Ryan can fill in a little bit on, which is the pavilion project. First one was for 484, the second was for 500. In order for us to move forward, those every 4 years you're required to, if you want to go back into the opt-in program, to be able to expend those monies, this is what you have to do. So if Ryan has any comment he wants to make, or you have any questions for Ryan?
So just to run through, what we're talking about is the STEEP program, which is the Small Town Economic Assistance Program. This is specifically for small towns. You have to qualify for it by meeting certain parameters. And it's also an enrollment program. So we actually have to enroll every, I believe, 4 years, which is coming due. And we get certain funding for things such as road safety, infrastructure improvements, emergency management upgrades, sidewalk and pedestrian safety enhancements, educational, recreational facility upgrades, library and public building renovations, and things of that nature. So this is for small towns that have difficulty affording these kind of things in their budget. It's typically a 20% match. So we're allowed to accept up to $1 million per year, and we have to pay 20% if we accept $1 million, or well, any amount, we have to pay 20%. But we did the park improvements with that. The pavilion over where the old annex was, we have a $500,000 grant for that. And that's also for the parking lot across the street, which is in disrepair, so we're going to try to do all of that at once. But we have to renew the program in order to receive that funding, otherwise we lose it. So we've been awarded the $500,000. In order to keep it and move forward the project, we have to renew the STEEP program. And by the way, I said the 20% match. The money that we put toward removing the annex, taking the annex down, that went toward the 20%. So this is free and clear money to put up the pavilion.
The deadline for this is when?
I believe it's August 8th.
And the grants have already been written, Ryan, for
Yes.
the community pavilion and the Lions Park improvements, so those grants are written for it. And they've
Written,
awarded
we've
for those.
already paid 20% of those grants. We have nothing in the works right now for new grants. We do have some funds out still for the park. We're finishing up the lighting program, which we need the grant to continue with that. And then if we want to move forward with the pavilion, we have to renew it. So it costs us nothing to be in the program. It only costs us money if we decide to accept a grant. And as with the procurement policy, if we're going to move forward with a grant, we have to follow procurement policy for any funds that we have to expend. So $10,000 plus is Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, and public meeting in order to approve that funding. I believe it's 50,000 plus is referendum. So we have to move forward with that in order to expend those funds in order to get the grant. So it does have to go to the public.
I have a copy of the September 26, 2022, when the town voted on expending the money for the pavilion. And it was actually Jordan Lumpkins came up with the idea. It was to utilize the money for demolition as the match for the $500,000 to do what we're going to be doing soon, because he has, Sean has completed the process to go in front of the Board of Planning and Zoning for their approval. Once that's approved, then we can move forward with the RFP to go out to actually start doing the work. And we've already calculated the monies for the work to be done by purchase of a kit for the pavilion, and the rest of the work, the remaining, will be coming from the rest of the money available.
And that was voted on when, Kevin?
That was voted on September 26th of 2022.
Now, do we know when or if we're gonna get any more funds from the steep grant, how much?
It depends on what becomes available and what projects we have in the works. Right now, we have nothing in the works, but in the next year, we might have something pop up that we want to apply for steep grant funding for.
Just from what I've heard him say, I mean, it'd be nice, I mean, obviously we have the Dow Road Bridge, you know, probably 100 homes affected from that above, and then the elevator, you know, we could relieve the taxpayer a little bit and maybe use some of these funds for that stuff, and that would be probably a good spent money.
Yeah, so Shannon is our economic development director, and she's always looking for grant funding. So it's a possibility.
I think you have a copy of what I gave you as a resolution that's in there as well. If we vote to do the opt-in, it's basically just approval of the resolution to move forward with the expenditures of the remaining monies.
Yeah, this is, it's tough. It's really tough on these two projects just because I know in the past 8 months, I have been so busy reaching out to people in the public, talking about, you know, what they want to see. And it's not just in the past months that I've been in office. Even before being on the Board of Selectmen, you know, I used to talk very regularly to many people, whether it's at diners, grocery store, whatever. And the thing that amazes me is that so many of them asked the similar questions, but none of them are regarding Lions Park or the pavilion. What they are regarding is, certainly in recent times, the Dow Road Bridge being shut down, the HVAC in our schools, which was a problem 6 or 7 years ago, just like it is now. It's gotten progressively worse. Our roads have certainly gotten worse in many areas. Haven't been done in some areas since the 80s. And so, you know, I respect, you know, these opinions that get brought to me on a regular basis. It's not just close to a Board of Selectmen meeting, it's just on a regular basis. And when they're asking me for updates on it, you know, I'm always telling them that we're gonna be talking about it. We're gonna bring these up. But the things that, you know, when I throw out there, I'm like, well, what about a splash pad? What about Lions Park? You know, what do you wanna see done with that? What about the pavilion and stuff? And I've yet to run into any citizens in the many that I talk to in town that said, yes, I'm very concerned right now about the pavilion status and the Lions Park, as opposed to their taxes, as opposed to, we're about to go into a reval session, you know, as opposed to the status of these other projects. Safety. You know, in recent times during the budget season, we discovered a lot of safety issues in our town, particularly in our highway department, that we need to address. And then obviously we've been talking about the elevator a lot lately, as Mike mentioned. We have a long list of things that need to be addressed, but it's just the problem is that these two particular things, which have been talked about for years, are still not really at the top of people's list right now. And so, to me, that's a very powerful thing. I respect that. When people come to me and say, can you please make sure that we are seeking funding from the state of Connecticut or using our tax dollars in this town for what is necessary right now, as opposed to what maybe a handful of people in town want to see. Now, if I was talking to hundreds and hundreds of people and I heard all these people bringing up to me the pavilion and the Lions Park, I mean, it's anything can be brought to the table. You know, it's not favoritism to one or the other, but that's what just is really something I've been thinking a lot about lately, is that nobody ever talks to me about the pavilion. People talk about the ECC, and I thought to myself, like, imagine getting a steep grant funding, and on this list here, we could be putting down 2026 Plainfield ECC building improvements before we even decide what the future of that building is, no matter what's going to happen, whether the people do vote to sell it or we keep it and repurpose it. Either way, we have to address these issues. I believe Kevin actually had said that at some point during the budget season. So to me, it's like a steep grant maybe could help us with some of these ECC building issues, but I would definitely be tackling that. The ECC building, I would definitely be tackling our current schools where our students go, the HVAC, before I would even consider revisiting or trying to get any more funding for the pavilion or Lions Park. Now, the lighting that's going on in Lions Park, that was something that, yeah, it made sense for safety and security. I drive past that park all the time, especially at night, and so I certainly was for lighting and for some of the previous improvements on it, which was like the basketball court, the playground. Those are necessary improvements, but there does come a point where we need to put a hold on that. And I also remember when we were seeking from the public approval additional $100,000 to be able to qualify for further grant funding, and that didn't go through. And to me, it's like, I listen to the people when they come out and they make that kind of statement of no more $100,000 invested to try to get more money to try to dump into that park. Please is what I hear all the time. Please tackle the ECC right now. Address the Dow Road Bridge. Please get our roads fixed. Fix our sewer, which we are doing. We are, of course, Water Pollution Control Authority is, investing into our sewer systems, which is great. But the people want to see more information on that. They want to see what else are we doing. So these are just some of my thoughts. But again, this is feedback from many different people from all different walks of life that I've talked to in recent months and over the years. And I respect, again, their opinion.
Well, I agree with you, but the two projects that we're speaking of, for Lions Park and the pavilion, have already gone to the voters, been approved. We don't owe any money. All we can do is lose that money.
I agree, this is just a formality now to, and we're
Right.
not gonna unring the bell. I don't
And moving forward, we might be able to get some of this grant funding for the projects you're talking about. But if we don't renew it, we lose that money and we can't move forward with more grant funding in the steep grants.
Yeah, and I believe it's a great service for us to utilize from the state, and I can think of, again, a lot of different things it can go towards. My hope is that, certainly as a Board of Selectmen, I hope that we can focus on the priorities, assuming we get the money, and depending on how much we have to work with. I just hope we can focus on the needs, the essentials of the town, and not so much the things that maybe it would be nice to have some of these things someday, but not at this time with the circumstances that our town is going through.
Well, just for clarity, I just want you to understand that we are not able to reallocate those funds to other projects. So I know we have $500,000 going toward the pavilion. We can't take and put that toward the Dow Road Bridge. The state has approved it specifically for that one project. The money that's been allocated for Lions Park cannot be transferred somewhere else. It has to be used for Lions Park. That's the way the state works.
And we are looking for other grants for other things, as Mike was alluding to earlier. Absolutely, we're looking for other grants for different things to be repaired and fixed up, so it's still in the process.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, so what's your pleasure on this?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution opting the town of Plainfield to the Small Town Economic Assistance Program, steep grant.
I'll second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Motion passes. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 6:13. Thank you.